Last week, I told you about Harold Gross, the man who gave me sand instead of knowledge, the racist journeyman who taught me what not to be. Today, I'm going to tell you about the day I almost quit the trade before I even got started. I was my second month as an apprentice. I was green, eager, and stupid enough to think I could handle anything they throw at me. Then they gave me a jackhammer, a ladder, and a job that should have took a machine. This is episode 3, the jackhammer job, the day I almost quit. So now, man, we've been on that elementary job for a while. We at probably my second month in. So Steve and I, he separated me from Harold, which was a great thing. And he put me and Steve together and he told us he got the perfect job for us. And sometimes they give you an impossible job to see if you'll break. It's not about the work. It's about whether you quit or you push through. So he told us that we needed to put these ground rods and these 6 electrical shops around, not shops, but electrical rooms around this elementary school. So we had to go into each one of them and set up this ladder and push these 10-foot ground rods. We get 3 ground rods and with that 90-pound jackhammer and that ladder and 2 ground rod couplings. And so what they did, it was a 16 inches of concrete slab. And they took a piece of 3/4 PVC and they put it in the ground as the sleeve to get the ground rod in. Later, after concrete slab was poured. So when we got there, the ground rod go through the PVC, no problem. It fit no problem. But so when we pushed the first one through, it was not really difficult, but we got it done. So we had to leave about 6 inches of that ground rod sticking out the ground. And now we had to screw on the ground rod coupling, and then you need to screw on the next ground rod. And now this is where we realized he handed us a torture kit. So we had to get up on that ladder and face it backwards, and Steve will bend the ground rod into that jackhammer and into the ground rod attachment, and I will pull the trigger. And then once that ground rod coupling got to where the PVC was, we realized that the PVC coupling was larger than the outside of the 3/4 PVC. So that means we got to really use the jackhammer and that coupling to drive the PVC away and the concrete away in all 6 of these electrical rooms. So me and Steve Green, we don't know better. It's hot. It's like July out there in that Florida heat. So all of a sudden, I turn on that machine. I pull the trigger on that jackhammer. And let me tell you something. I had to hold on for dear life. The ladder was shaking. I was shaking. My bones shaking. My teeth shaking. My ears popping. Steve's down there trying to hold that rod. We all shaking. And so we beating the rod through. And like I go for about 30 minutes, sweat going in my eyes, like tears, and it's hot. And so we'll switch and Steve will take a turn and he'll do it. And man, I'm talking about this job was brutal. Bro, I don't know how many times I thought about quitting. I was like, man, it's way easier to go back selling drugs. And at the time, I was only getting like I want to say I was making $180 a week take home. I could do that in like 2 or 3 sales. So at the time, though, I was looking for something more tangible, something different, because I knew better. Like I said, I went to private school. I didn't even go to regular school. I had a good education. I had a good foundation, a good background from where I was from. My grandfather was successful. My grandma successful. My uncles them was successful. And here I am trying to sell drugs when I already had the clear path to do the right thing. But I venture off and learn to do the wrong thing. So now I'm trying to put all this back together. So I'm sitting out there in that heat. And it was a decision that I really had to think about. And I'm glad that jackhammer didn't make me quit. So anyway, back to the story. So me and Steve, we got 6 of these rooms to do. It take probably about 2 or 3 days to get them 3 ground rods in each one of these rooms. And so we kept working, and I believe Steve had the same thought as I did. Like, what the hell did I get into? I got in to be an electrician. Don't an electrician supposed to just deal with wires? You know what I mean? Stand in front of a panel. But I didn't know at the time. That's just the picture they show you. The real work is in the ground or up in the air. The work you'll never see. The work nobody ever know about. So when me and Steve sat there and we was finishing up on that job, that job was the hardest job I think I ever did. So when I was coming up, my uncle Larry, he had a lawn care service. He had a lawn care business he did. And one of the things he did was lay in sod, for a whole house or a community. And when me and my brother was younger, he used to bring us out to teach us about work. And laying sod in the Florida heat was a real lesson he gave us, because he did show us what not to do again, because that was hard work. And I learned to do that work, and I thought I could do any work. But that day down there in Port Orange at the elementary school, bro, that was a lesson. That was a lesson. But I didn't quit. I didn't quit. The hardest job aren't always the most important ones. Dale could have done that job 20 different ways. Easier, faster, cheaper. But he wanted to see if we'll survive. That's the game. But we did it. Man, we did that lesson. And, lesson number 1. Now, sometimes they give you the impossible job to see if you'll break. But it's not about the work. It's about whether if you quit or push through. And guess what I did that day? Or that week? I pushed through. When all the odds were against me. They stacked. When I first started in the trade, I really want to say they stacked the deck against me. I don't want to say Billy Wiggins had faith in me. But the other guys in the shop, I don't know if they had faith in me. They thought I was going to quit. They thought I was going to. They really did. Well, lesson 2, the hardest job aren't always the most important ones. Bill really could have found 20 other ways to do that. When me and Steve finished that job, we was laying down on that, down in the grass after we finished that last room. And all I could think about, Mose was right. Dale was a stupid motherfucker. He was stupid, because there's so many other ways we could have did it. And lesson 3, every time the road get hard after the first impossible moment, you got a choice. Remember what you survived, or forget and quit. I remember the jackhammer job. And the memory carried me through 30 years now. So next week, I'm going to tell you about the lesson Billy Joe taught me that changed my whole career. The lesson about nigger rigging and why your work has to be perfect when you're a black man in this trade. Until then, remember this. The trade will test you. The question is whether you can do the job. The question is whether you will. I'm Gator. Stay safe out there. See you on the next one.